skin. So what happened is, as a user, I walked through a setup process, and during that very simple, intuitive setup process, I selected a bunch of social networks and email configurations that I wanted to use on the phone. And once I was done with that...
Can you tell me what social networks you're compatible with?
Sure. Right now, 1.0, we're compatible with Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, any of the email, Gmail, Google, Pop, IMAP, Exchange, ActiveSync, PhotoBucket, and Picasa from the photo upload sites.
Okay.
Okay. And then Last.fm for the I Love Tracks feature.
Right.
Not streaming audio, but the I Love Tracks type things within Last.fm. So in this case, I've done that. I've now get brought to this home screen, which is made up of Moto Blur widgets. This home screen is a panel. So there's multiple panels. There's a total of 5 panels right now. So I can scroll back and forth through these panels. This main home panel here is where we have some of the core components of Motorola Blur. You'll see on the very top I have a status widget. This status widget allows me to see my current status and or set my status on one or multiple social networks. So when I click on this here, I have the ability to set a social networking for Facebook, MySpace, or just one at one time. Okay? This information that you see on this screen is content forward, meaning the service and or the device is getting the information and bringing it down to the handheld to show the user what's updating. So these cards are constantly updating themselves, right? So I know what's happening. So you'll see I have 2 different other widgets here. I have happenings and messages. Happenings, think of happenings as all the occurrences within your social networks, your broadcasted events. Messages is your one-to-one communication. So that's a makeup of Pop, IMAP, Exchange, or your direct messaging in Facebook or Twitter.
And in both cases, it takes messages or happenings from the social networks and puts them all together in one single stream.
Correct. It's going to aggregate them, right? So when you're looking at this, when you look at messaging and happenings, think of this as almost a stack of cards. And what you're seeing is the most up-to-date card on the top.
Sure.
When I click on one of those cards, so in this case, I see that I have a friend request. So content forward, I know what I'm going to see. I open this up, and it launches into what we call a loop. So now it's kind of laid out these cards of unread. So I have 1 of 75 unread happenings.
Okay.
So I can accept this or ignore it. And for each happening you get, it gives you the option to take the most likely action that you would have taken, right? But that doesn't mean it's my only action I can take. So in this case, these are friend requests. I'm just looking for one that might not be those, so they're all going to be friend requests. Let's see if it works. But at any point, if this was a status update, I can just start typing here.
Sure.
And it would start replying back
to the status, to commenting on it.
And I can get a drop down to have an option. Maybe I got something in Facebook, but I have their cell phone number, so instead I want to text them back instead of writing on their wall.
Right.
So it gives you the option to take an action there. Okay, so in here, if this was a contact, and I can show you this on my phone actually. If it was a contact, so in this case we have Lisa Reed. Okay, so Lisa just set up, put up a status. So in this case, like I said before, I can either add a comment, just start typing, so I'll show you that.
How are you bringing up that keyboard?
By holding down the menu key, will bring up that. So you notice it says right on her wall, and it's saying that because it's a Facebook update, but I have a drop down here where I can then change this and say, maybe I want to SMS her instead, or email her instead, and that's called quick messaging. Anywhere I see Lisa, Lisa is a contact that's connected in multiple places. So if I want to go directly into Lisa's contact, I just click on her profile picture. And now all of a sudden I'm in her contacts. Okay, and in her contacts, I can just start typing again and it would reply, or I could take one of the actions available to me.
It looks like you've got some tabs along the bottom here.
The tabs here on the bottom, if I facet right here, I see a list of Lisa's happenings, right? So I don't just see the most when I see all of them. So in this case, she's 2 days away from going to Chicago. If I click on it, I see I have a list of other comments that people have made. Okay, so I see all the past things that Lisa has done outside of just the one contact. And then in history, if I can either click on it or scroll left and right. History would be my past communication, like missed phone calls and text messages, which I don't have.
Email as well?
Email, last outgoing, last missed email, yeah.
Gotcha.
And that's, obviously I don't have anything from Lisa here.
Right.
So going back to this, again, I'm going to click this back key. I'm back to this card view. Before I just touched on Lisa and it opened up her contact. If I hold down on Lisa, I actually have the ability to take actions as well.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I can view her, I can call her right from here. So anywhere I see Lisa, I can take these types of actions and it's pulling this information from the service.
And isn't it also the case that anywhere you see Lisa, you can get to like Like if she calls you, you see her most recent
That's
status
correct.
update.
When Lisa calls me, I'm going to see her profile picture and her recent status.
Okay.
So that I have something to talk about immediately, right?
Right.
And maybe if her status update is I'm not happy right now, maybe I don't want to answer the phone, right? So in happenings, you have his happenings up here. So again, I'm one of 69. I keep scrolling through. I can also click on this happenings link, and this is your point before.
And
so now I'm in the list.
That's how you really want to
happenings actually is an application, right? So you from this home screen, you have a widget that turned into a loop, but it's also an application. So if by clicking on home again, it brings up the app tray, and you'll see that I have a happenings application. And that's where you see a list view of all of your social networks.
So you allow an app to have an app, a sort of a pop-up thing you're calling a loop, and also a widget on the home screen.
That's correct.
And they're all tied together. They don't show up separately on the phone in some weird.
That's right. They're all, the best way to say it is there's no silos in between them. Right. It's integrating and aggregating everything together. So a contact on a phone is always a contact. The information you're seeing is always your information.
Right.
Same thing stands true in messaging. So if I go into messaging, I see that I have a direct message on Twitter from somebody, right? And it's here, it's a Gmail icon. As before, I can click on messages, and it will bring me into my Gmail inbox. Okay. When I'm in here, I can also reply back, same type of concept. It's going to give me the options I'd most likely use when I'm in here. And if this was a contact, same concepts as before. Now with messaging, you have a universal inbox, which is literally a makeup of all of your emails, text messaging in one place. So universal inbox will be everything that you have in terms of messaging. Okay. So in this case, you see that I have Gmail, and I also have, down here, I have a Facebook email.
Oh, wow.
So it's an aggregation of all of them. By clicking up here, actually, I can actually sort differently, right? So if I'm looking at the different sources of the applications, or I can go individually into one. So I looked at the universal inbox, but you know what? I just want to go see Gmail. So now this will just be a makeup of just Gmail. Okay. There's obviously a weather widget as well. The weather widget is showing you just you can add cities to this, showing you the forecast. And then, as we said, you can fast it left and right. So, being that people very content forward, another type of widget we have is called a news widget, which is RSS Atom Reader. Out of the box, the user has some pre-configured news widgets that are there, or bundles. But as a user, I can create my own widgets as well for news.
So I can add your favorite site,
exactly,
add the RSS
exactly.
for it.
And the way the RSS feed works is, if you type in, for example, www.cnn.com, it will pull back the list of RSS feeds that are exposed. And then I can select which ones I want. So same type of concept before. I open up this widget, and it launches into this loop here. And if I want, I can link out by clicking this little green button here. And this will launch the browser.
To take you to the full version of the story.
That's exactly right.
Wow. Any other
looking at the full contact list here, so looking at the full contact list, which we didn't before, you'll see that I have all contacts. I can sort by the different networks, or I can sort by, I can create groups or favorites. I can just start typing to find a contact. You can see that you have the quick little finder here. If I go to facet right here, I have a list of statuses of all my contacts. So happenings is everything going on. This is specifically status. Okay. And then you have your history as a makeup of all the history of the people on the phone in terms of past communication. Okay. In terms of other widgets, we have some live folders that are pretty cool. So if I click down at any point on the home screen, I can add a widget, very Android-centric. I can also click on this button to do that. So in this case, I'm going to go to folders. And within Blur, we added some live folders. So for example, I have just add a phone numbers. So I have a phone numbers live folder. So now I just have a list of all my phone numbers. And there's a couple of those in here that are pretty cool little things that we added.
You had so there's you had a Pandora folder, it looks like?
Oh, that looks like it is someone installed the Pandora application. Looks like someone installed that on the phone itself. And then I can also do like a resend. So this is taking the information that we have within the Blur databases and bringing them forward. And then obviously you can do the Google search. And per your point about Pandora, obviously we support the full Google ecosystem. So Android Marketplace and any other third-party apps you want to add can also be put. And these widgets can be rearranged, right? Just like anything else. If I decide that weather isn't for me, I can trash it, right? And I can just go add it back.
Very cool.